that we embrace people who lie to the nation. For instance, when Ababu Namwamba says Raila neglected the Luhya community, when you look at the time when Raila was part of the coalition, when he was the prime minister, there were about 7 Luhyas who were in cabinet. There was Marende who was the speaker, then you had the attorney general, you had Oparanya, even Ababu Namwamba himself was a minister. So you cannot say that Raila neglected them. Well, Raila made him a minister, and going against convention even made him the secretary general for ODM. So for him to say that Raila has neglected the Luhya community, I think is logic which is upside down.
He's not being honest?
Yeah, he's not being honest. But obviously, in Kenya they say you pays the piper calls the tune. So there are allegations that he's a beneficiary of some tranche of a lot of money to Kosapeni in Western Kenya. And I suspect he's been given key deliverables. So he has a box he has to keep on ticking.
What he has done so far.
Yeah, because when you're given money, you have to account for it. You have to be accountable.
Yeah, and well, he seems to be busy. Yesterday he was meeting with the German ambassador.
And one wonders why that is supposed to be a news event. And I recall yesterday you had a very serious conversation with Mr. David Ohito, which says the sections of the media are actually losing the plot. There are some of these things which really do not deserve any coverage. Because if Ababu Namwamba is moving out of ODM, he actually needs to tell us why is he moving out of ODM. He claims there's no democracy within the political party. But is there a political party in Kenya which has got democracy? At least ODM has tried to do grassroots elections. When he talks about joining, say, Labour Party of Kenya, I've never heard of any democracy within that party. There's no democracy within TNA, URP. There's never been an election. At least for ODM, they did grassroots, and when they went to the national level, they sat in a boardroom over a cup of tea and allocated positions. So these are the kind of people that we're actually supposed to. If I was a managing editor, I would give him a news blackout.
Well, yeah, and again, looking at what makes sense and what doesn't. All right, and let's move on to page 9. MCA's nearly double perks over 9 months, and Busia Ward representative pocketed allowances of 78,000 above the 124,000 SRC cap.
You see, this is what we're talking about. That a number of us consider leadership as a factor of production. That when you join politics, you stop running your small kiosk across the road. If you're a lawyer, you stop practicing. If you're an accountant, you stop offering your auditing services.
It becomes a place to just literally get money out of the position.
It becomes an 8 to 5 job. That if you lose an election, then you go back to the village and sleep on an empty stomach. Going back to David Cameron, he's not going to sleep on an empty stomach. That's why he's not worried of leaving office. But there are some people, especially the African leaders, who have committed sins, acts of omission and commission. Like, for instance, Dr. Robert Mugabe. He fears that if he leaves office today, on his way out, he's going to be arrested and incarcerated for the rest of his life. And the same happens with Museveni. The number of atrocities is committed. And that's the same situation obtaining in South Sudan, Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. They fear that if they leave office today, they're going to be in trouble. Now, these MCAs, all this money they've stolen is they're anticipating that they're not going to retain their seats next year, so they want to steal as much as possible. And at the end of the day, one begins to wonder actually whether the Auditor General has got the requisite capacity to do this kind of investigations and give reports to the EDCI who is supposed to do these investigations. Because it seems to me that all elected leaders received a memo, steal as much as you can from the public coffers before election time, because this is really unacceptable. And outside this headline, I can almost bet nothing is going to happen to these MCAs.
Well, yeah, we'll wait and see, because when it comes to the Auditor General, he's done quite a bit in terms of bringing to the surface some of the monies that are not accounted for, but it just comes, we read about it and that's the end. I remember, I think it was yesterday, we had an article where the Senate in Mombasa had carpeted the governor, Joho, for, I think it was, was it 127 million?
About 327 million.
Which had been put in a separate account. But one wonders, in terms of even best practice, why somebody would do that, and how it's going to be dealt with, or it's just going to be another excuse given, and at the end of the day we buy it, and life goes on.
One of the senators said that Governor Joe has been running the county as if he's running his personal business. But even when you're running your personal businesses, you're supposed to tell the difference between your personal income and business income. It's really unacceptable that you can have all this money going to accounts that have not been authorized, and when you come to the Senate, you're not even prepared to defend it. You say that I forgot to bring the receipts, and then the Senate has to tell you that we are giving you another 1 week. or 2 weeks to bring the receipts. There's a lot of recklessness, and we treat our systems in a very casual manner because the people of Mombasa expected Joe to sort them out. Understand he's come with the vision 2035. So people are beginning to wonder, you are misappropriating resources today. For how long are you going to do that before you can start cleaning the town? You start cleaning the garbage?